from my Poppet. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back live and this was going to be our regular time from now on. So if you're interested in catching up with me every week, 2 o'clock Melbourne time and Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane time every Monday, and I'll be here. The other thing is I've also been re-editing these chats and popping them up on Facebook. So I'm sorry, not Facebook, YouTube. So I've been putting them on YouTube with some extra bonus content. So if you're into YouTube or are keen on just catching up on the chats that you might have missed, they're all they've got a specific playlist now, and they're all on YouTube with like links to the things I'm talking about as well, so you can just like click over and it makes life super easy. So we've got 12 people joining us, 14, yay. If you want to leave a comment about anything I'm showing you or questions, go ahead, because I can answer them right here and now. Just leave a comment and it'll pop up on my screen, and then I'll be able to answer you. So how exciting is that? Now, today I wanted to talk to you about my most favorite and the best craft book in the world. Like, it literally is my craft Bible. I suppose it's what influenced me to get into crafting. My mother had a copy and I used to just read it instead of like instead of magazines, instead of comic books, instead of just normal picture books. I would go through this craft book religiously, so I know it all off by heart, and like it's inspired me in my crafting career so much, and I'm going to show you what it is. Now, who knows, you might have one too, and if you don't have one, you probably know someone that does, especially if you've got like aunties, grandmas, parents that craft. I don't think it's in print anymore, which is a sad thing, and this is the book. It's called The Reader's Digest Complete Guide to Needlecraft. This is not the original copy. My mum's still got the original copy and she wouldn't give it to me. She's like, no, you can have anything you want, but you cannot have this book, because she loves it too. It's an amazing reference. Like, look how big it is. It's just full of everything. So I'm going to show you lots of pages from inside, but first of all I'm going to tell you how I came across this book, because sadly it's out of print. So for many years I was just like scouring op shops for it. I was looking in secondhand bookshops, and I think if you have a really good secondhand bookshop in your area, you might be lucky enough to find it. And if it's not there, tell the people there, because they might come across one and they'll get it in for you if they can. I also think you can buy secondhand books on Amazon. I don't know, I don't get Amazon in Australia, so if you have access to Amazon and the secondhand book section, keep an eye out for this one. Now, how I came across this one is I went to a Brown Owls meetup, which is like a craft group in Melbourne, and they've got craft groups all around the world. Pip from Meet Me at Mike's originally started Brown Owls. So one day we had like a swap, like a secret swap thing, so you could just bring like a craft supply or something that you didn't need or didn't want, and you had to wrap it up so it was secret, like it was like a Secret Santa but for craft. And everyone got to bring something, and then everyone got to pick a secret parcel, and I went for this big boxy square parcel, and it was the book I'd been after for years and years and years, so it was like totally meant to be. So I'm going to show you the inside. Have you guys ever seen this book before? Just leave a yes or a no, or I'd love to know if you've got a copy, because if you do, you'll understand why I really love it. Okay, so this book tells you embroidery, knitting, canvas work, crochet, applique, lacework, macrame, patchwork, rug making, everything. Apart from garment sewing, which I'll show you later, they've got a garment sewing version too, which I occasionally refer to, but not as much as this one. It's got everything you're going to need. And the cool stuff is this one was reprinted in like the 70s or 80s, so it's got some really nice vintage project examples in it too. So it's pretty heavy, so I'm going to find the pages and I'll show you. So let's have a look. It starts off with like your basic supplies. I have read every page of this book, so I could tell you it off by heart. It's given me so much knowledge about, you know, materials and what's appropriate to use and stuff like that. And it gives you theories for designing your own work. So it doesn't actually have projects or patterns in it. It's more about teaching you the techniques of how to make things, how to design things, which I think is really, really important. A lot of craft books these days are all about, oh, here's how to make this and here's the pattern for this. But, you know, I suppose the skill in craft is knowing how to do a technique and then being able to apply it to like other projects or other things that you come across or want to design yourself. How to transfer patterns. I often get asked, especially with embroidery things, when you say to people transfer the pattern, how do you do that? So this has got like pages and pages of how to transfer patterns, how to thread a needle, and then it goes into just like stitch guides, like how to make like every single stitch that you would ever want to do in embroidery. It's here. I used to love it, and I'll show you something that I did when I was like a kid, and I've still kept it. It's probably one of my first embroidery pieces, like when I was in like sort of junior high, like year 7 or 8. A little sampler that I made, and I've still got it. But it's, I really like this stitch. It's called Hardanger or Hardanger embroidery. Let me find it. And it's like got, can you see? It's like cut out cut work. So it was really nice to be able to look through this book and sort of decide, oh, I'm going to set myself a challenge to do something. And then like these other stitches where you like lay meshwork over it and then you stitch over it. So that's just like a little mini sampler, but I've kept it and I thought it would be interesting for you to see because, you know, it's nice to keep your work that you start off with. So later on, you know, years later when you progress, you can like see where you started from. So that's really cool. Like my knitting, like I only started knitting a couple of years ago, and then my first knitting was a pair of leg warmers, and looking at it now, they're like awful. But I'm going to keep those forever because, you know, if you don't keep stuff from when you're terrible at doing something, you never know how far you progress. So anyway, so that's got like so many things for embroidery, like techniques, smocking, and then at the end, this is what was always my favorite part. It's got really amazing art pieces, and they're all like from the 70s, but these are like artwork pieces to show you like what you can achieve. And then next section, canvas work. So many stitches, lots and lots of stitches. Beautiful. Applique. Applique is really cool, and we don't use it enough these days in craft. It can be quite fiddly because most of it is stitched by hand. So I think the sad thing is with craft, people want stuff that is like, you know, you can just churn it out really quickly. But I find that sometimes having projects that take a long time it gives you, I don't know, I use it like meditation. So crochet, knitting, it's so repetitive. It's like a meditation, and there's been studies done to say that having a craft practice is equivalent, it's for your health and mindfulness and wellness, it's equivalent to doing regular meditation, so that's good. Quilting, patchwork, so lots of really good stuff. And I remember doing a patchwork, like it's called log cabin patchwork, when I was younger and practicing on the sewing machine. So I used to go through this book and then challenge myself to like make stuff. You know, it's got so much theory in it. People always ask me, where did you learn what you do? Where did you learn to sew? Where did you learn to refashion, all that sort of stuff? And it's not really one place. Like, it was watching my mum do stuff a lot, but also reading books like this with just like really good, strong technique theory. Even if you don't do it yourself, it sort of sticks in your brain. So when you go to do something similar, it's like, oh yeah, I understand about clipping corners, and you understand why you need to do things. So quilting. Some of this work in here is amazing. Hand quilting is something I haven't tried. That does take a lot of patience, but you know, it's got really traditional designs in there, how to set up a frame, other bits that I really love about this book. Oh yeah, it's got all the basics of knitting, how to make like every stitch. I'm never gonna have to buy a pattern book again because I can just adapt these stitches. And you know, I think a lot of craft books, it's nothing new about craft. It's basically taking the same things from different stuff and rearranging it in a different way and styling it differently and maybe using different colours or textures or fabrics and stuff. But in the end, you know, it's been done forever. So I don't pretend that I'm inventing anything new, especially with my craft projects on the blog. What they are is just a mashup of things that are, you know, relevant for me at the time and are useful in my life, and that I want to explore maybe a different technique or something like that. So that's where my craft projects come from. And also I've learnt a lot about sleeves from this book, like different types of sleeves, set-in sleeves, raglan sleeves, all sorts of sleeves. So if you want to know about sleeves, in this book, cross stitch, got alphabet patterns, crochet. If you want to know about crochet, this is the book. Hang on, can you see? It's got techniques, stitch patterns, how to make basic shapes, how to fix mistakes, needlepoint lace work, something I haven't tried because it looks really fiddly, net lace work. I think it's even got macrame in here. Oh yep, there we go, macrame. So much goodness. I mean, have a look at some of these amazing macrame pieces. These 3D mushrooms look so cool. And some of my favourite things that I've been doing a lot of is rug making. So you might have seen some of my t-shirt rug projects on the blog, the t-shirt braided rugs. That's like my #1 top post of all time. It gets a ton of traffic and lots of comments and lots of questions. Totally inspired by the rug making techniques used in this book. So I've adapted them somewhat because these are designed for using wool, woven wool fabric, and sewn together in a traditional way, but totally inspired by it. So I think it's important to like look at stuff from the past. That was it. That was like your express version of the book. It's really important to look at crafts from the past, understand the techniques, understand the materials they used, and then you can look at what you have on hand and then adapt them. So I encourage you to make stuff, but just like recipes where you can sometimes replace ingredients for similar ingredients, or try different things, with craft you can do that as well. So you don't really need to have exactly this fabric or exactly this amount of whatever, or if you don't have that yarn it's not going to work. Like, be a little bit creative with what you have on hand, and you'll be surprised at, you know, your project is going to turn out cool and it's going to turn out unique. So it's not going to look exactly like the magazine or the pattern in the book, but it's going to be yours, because yeah, it's part of you, and that's why I love craft. So tell me if you've got a favourite craft book or a favourite something that's influenced your craft practice or just your general life from when you were a kid. I'd be really keen to know what that was. Yeah, because I think sometimes just the littlest things that, you know, can have such a big role in your life later on. And I didn't realise, like, when I was looking through this book, that craft would be such a big part of my life and would actually earn me an income. I mean, I went to school, to uni, to study to be a pharmacist. So, like, hi, I'm a registered pharmacist and I can also crochet. Like, it doesn't really work on the CV, but you know, you never know where your life is going to take you. So I encourage you to take in as much as you can from everyone, everything you see, learn, and yeah, that's it. That's what I've got to say today. So, gosh, that was a big long chat. I can't believe it, 15 minutes. So if you liked this chat, you want to join me next week, please do so. Another thing you might want to do is subscribe. So you can either subscribe to my YouTube channel, one of these, I've put the button up here, and also you can subscribe to the live feed. So I think the button's up there too. Leave comments, especially if you want me to chat about something particular. I think next week I'm going to show you progress on one of my crochet projects. So it's been taking years and years. I'm going to show you how I'm going with that, and I might actually do one live. So if you're interested in crochet or watching my technique, tune in, because I'll be doing it live and you can see how I actually hold my hook and all that sort of stuff. So I think that's quite an interesting thing to do too. Yeah, leave a comment, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.